Congratulations, Grant, Joe, and Greg.
Thank you.
We have a quorum, exactly right. All righty, we're up to 6 members. So Sarah, we still have one opening, and we may have one person that's interested. I'll give you more information on that later.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so it is February 1st, 2021 at 2:03, and I will call this meeting to order. I propose a amendment to the agenda, and that would be under new business. And that proposal is I would like to add the 2021-2022 city budget authorization for the fresh waterways. Do I have anyone who would like to make a motion to pass? Phyllis makes a motion to pass. Bob seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Do I have any nays? Okay, so that amendment has passed. Under new business will be 2021-2022 fresh City of Ocean Shores budget for fresh waterways. Okay, next on the agenda would be approval of minutes of January 4th, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes as written? Bob?
I move we accept them as written.
Bob moves accept as written. Do I have a second?
Second.
Grant Schaefer seconds. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye. Do I have any nays? Okay.
Hey,
Thanks,
Steve,
Bob.
can I interject for
Yeah.
just a moment? I
Yeah.
asked if there was any citizens on the line. There isn't, but I did not let you know that our new council liaison for the Fresh Waterways Board, Councilmember Canary, is here. So since you're on the phone, I wanted to let you know this is her first meeting as the liaison.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. All right. So what I actually should have done, sorry about that, everybody, before the approval of minutes is I should have done a roll call to make sure that we're all here. Greg, do you want to do that?
Sure. Steve Borba,
I'm here.
Bob Fowl,
I'm here.
Phyllis Brown,
Here.
Greg McKay is present, Grant Schaefer,
Here.
Joe Hubacek, Joe Hubacek. I see you, but I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm here. I'm not sure what I got to do to make this thing work.
All right.
I'm
We
learning
got
this
you.
thing here.
And
All right.
All right.
And then the city liaison, the city council liaison.
Susan Canary.
Thank you. I'm here.
Thank you.
Is Scott Anderson and Nick Bird online?
We have Scott
Scott's
Anderson.
on the phone. I'm here.
Oh, hey, Nick.
And,
Yes, I'm on another phone.
And-
I'm sorry. That's my life now. I'm on multiple
great.
phone calls.
thanks, Scott. And Alicia?
I'm here.
Thank you, Alicia. Speaking of Alicia, next we have the city planner report.
I do not have any reports at this time.
Okay, thank you. Fresh Waterways Corporation report. Bob, Phyllis, are we still on? Okay.
I've been waiting to somebody from the city to get together to take down that tree that's blocking the Fishhook Canal, but no one's called in over 2 months.
Well, that is, Alicia sent out the permit. I'm not the permit. She sent out the notification to the property owners, and it was just waiting for us to get together. And if we couldn't do it, then we were going to contact the city, and then they would get the tree removed. They would pay to have the tree removed. So if you and I or anybody else, Joe, if you're available at all, and we get a little bit of good weather, I know it's been crazy lately, but maybe if we find a day that works for us with good weather, we can get out there and get that. If you're still able and willing to do that, Grant.
Oh, yeah, it'll only take about an hour.
Okay. All right.
I'm
I'll
willing to
look
help
at the
any way I
forecast.
can.
Great. Thanks, Joe. So that's the status of that tree removal. Am I right, Alicia? The affected residents have received their notification?
Yes, they have. And I did contact Nathan, but you guys said you were going to do it, and he hasn't called me back yet. So I assume that he assumes we are going to take care of it unless we contact him again.
Yes, we will. I'll make sure that we do a little bit better communication on that. It was my fault.
So rain, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. Okay. Well, we will, Joe, I know you said that you're willing to help. So what I'll do is I'll talk with Grant. We'll look at the weather, and then I'll contact you and see what would be a good time for us to get out there and take care of that tree.
All right, sounds good.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to.
I'm sorry, you got a boat to get in there. You don't need a boat, do you?
No, we have that all covered.
Okay, very good.
It's just the labor portion of it.
All right, the grunt work.
Yeah,
Got
the fun stuff.
it.
All righty, so we're going to go ahead and move on to old business. The first is the North End Grand Canal Park project. So, like I've said before, I'm going to go ahead and keep that on there, and in hopes that, especially now that we've moved into phase 2 as of today, hopefully some things can open up in the future, so that we could get rolling on that with the presentation, the city presentation, and then resident comment. Nick, do you have any update on that, or maybe Scott? Have you heard if public meetings are going to be allowed anytime soon?
I would doubt it. I think, now we're just moving into the new phase and we're at 25% capacity, but I don't believe there's going to be any movement, at least for the next couple months, probably to allow for public gatherings.
Okay. All right. And that still is the plan, Nick, right? Once public gatherings or meetings are allowed to be held, then the city will put forth that North End Grand Canal Park project presentation?
Correct. The obvious piece is that I don't know. My gut feeling is that even though the green light may be given to have public meetings, there may still be a little bit of apprehension, and so we may want to take it relatively slow. But yeah, that is the game plan. There's
okay.
a pot of money specifically set aside for doing that.
All right, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything else holding it up. That once we were allowed to do those, and I understand, having the public confidence and going to something like that it would be able to be presented. There wouldn't be anything else holding it up. Okay. So does anybody else, I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, since we have the 6 members, and I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to talk on these subjects. So on the North End Grand Canal Park project, Bob, do you have anything? Phyllis? Grant? Greg? Greg, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. No comment.
No comment, thanks. And Joe, any comment?
I don't know enough about it to comment on it.
Okay, all right, we'll get you up to speed with that.
Okay.
Okay, and so next is the aquatic weeds. As you can see, I have some sub-project underneath that aquatic weeds. But first what we'll do is we'll get into the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. So with that, I received comments from Greg and Joe. So the comment that I received from Greg was about in paragraph 2.2 about where the sentence says boat launch by boat launches. So yeah, Greg, I agree with you that should be boat launches, and I've annotated that on my master copy here. And Joe, your comment was about sorry. I have a lot of pieces of paper here. Joe, what Joe brought up was would like to see water quality study done showing pH levels and dissolved oxygen levels. Discuss alternatives to herbicides, such as weed harvesting and equipment needed to keep up with the aquatic growth. And a more recent fish study, last one was in 2014, and then also about grass carp. So what I would like to do is I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask if anybody else has any other comments about this plan, so that I could have them all put together. So starting with Bob. Bob, do you have anything?
The only question I have is that plan. It talks about 5 miles shoreline. It talks about being 450 acres in size. And I don't know if any of those have been verified or tested. So at some point, I think we still need to do that. Find out for sure what we're dealing with. If nothing else, a new bidder to this project will probably want to make sure he knows how much water is being treated. That's it.
All right, thanks, Bob. Phyllis, do you have any comments on the integrated aquatic plant management? Grant, do you have any questions on that document that I sent out about the aquatic plant management request for proposal? All right. And so I received the comments from Joe and Greg. So what I wanted to do is I actually made quite a few comments on this as well. I had to go back to my Navy days, Nick, and get out my red pen so that I could make sure that I had everything down. But there are some things that I would like to discuss with you, Nick, and I'm wondering if we could do that prior to your submission on February 4th. And how hard of a fast date is February 4th, 2021 for the issue of the RFP to you?
Okay, so I think I'm up to speed because we're talking about the vegetation management contracting, which is specifically addressing the aquatic vegetation and the chemical control, and so that's all that RFP or RFQ is intended to function as, not as an integrated vegetation management plan. So I spent the first half of this trying to get up to speed and trying to figure out what it was that we were talking about. The deadline, it can be flexible. What that does is that creates the opportunity that we're going to be pushing, application out further. And so right now the timeline is, February 4, we issue the RFP. February 18, we get the proposal back. March 1, i.e. at the next meeting, we're making a determination and a selection. And so if we push it beyond March or February 4th, the probability of us making a selection at the next meeting drops dramatically, just because of the timelines associated with the current framework. If you're okay facilitating the selection in April, which means at that point in time, then we would be going forward mid-April with the concurrence and contract award at council. It's pushing it. We really can't go too far beyond that. So in a perfect world, I'd like to get it out this week. If not, I don't know how big of concerns we're talking about, but I'm happy to go through it, and that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. And I guess that's sort of what my concern is that, all right, number one, sort of my bad, is that understanding the terminology here, that this is not the integrated aquatic management plan. This is just the RFP for the management of the weeds, the plant growth in the waterways, but this isn't that big, huge integrated aquatic management plan. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. I was under the impression that we had to have an updated integrated aquatic management plan before the RFP could be done. And I think maybe that's where my confusion was.
No, so the purpose for having an integrated or an updated integrated aquatic vegetation management plan is specifically for grant applications. And so if you recall, a couple of months back, we couldn't apply for certain grants because we didn't have an up-to-date integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. So that's one of those things that, I think holistically, when we talk about how to manage the fresh waterways, that's definitely something that we want to see on our radar, and we want to get done. But from a timeline standpoint, we wanted to make sure, specifically as it relates to chemical application this year and next year, because we don't know when that plan is going to be done. We need to continue doing the current practice until we have a better approach. And so thus the purpose of moving this one ahead, given that our timeline is relatively tight. And the earlier we apply, again, going back to previous conversations, the earlier we apply chemical, it reduces the volume of the mass that will degrade in the waterways, and ultimately reduce the amount of biomass that accumulates at the bottom of the waterways. So my preference would be to be facilitating control efforts in early June, as opposed to August again. And so that's the focus there.
All right. So with the integrated aquatic management plan, this is the document where we would want to talk about the alternatives to any kind of herbicides, the harvesting, the use of grass carp, the use or the biological part, the herbicide part, all the different components of the entire system management. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
All right. So when are okay, I'm going to put that portion off for a little bit because I want to get moving on the RFP. Go ahead, Bob.
I move that we stick by the current plan of having RFQ go out by February 4th. The questions that came up as a result of your query, we can cover those when we finally do get integrated aquatic plan.
Okay. So the motion to accept the RFP as written The only thing that I would have to say about that is there are a couple of concerns that I have in the particular RFP that I wanted to address to Nick.
Why don't you do that one? You have my,
Nick, can we do that within the next day? You and I get together and talk about this. It's not a whole bunch of stuff, but just a couple of things that I want to make sure.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
All right. Okay. So with that said, what we have is Bob has made a motion to accept the RFP and have the city issue the RFP as written with some minor changes that Nick and I would discuss within the next day or so. Do I have a second?
oh, yeah.
Phyllis seconds. All right. I'm going to go around the room and get your yay or nay. Greg,
Yay.
Grant, yay. Joe Hubacek.
I'm gonna say nay.
All
I don't know
right.
what, I don't know what's in that proposal. I'm against herbicides. I don't know what's in there.
That's the one that I sent to you that you responded back.
Okay, that's that aquatic weed discussion on the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan, AVMP.
It's the subject is subject of the email. It was the email that I forwarded on, and it was an attachment that Nick Bird had sent.
Yeah, I think I got that printed out and put on here with the what we're going to be discussing at the meeting. I think I attached.
Yeah, and that's what I had read.
Okay.
I read back the 4 issues that you had was discussing water quality study, discussing alternatives to herbicides such as weed harvesting, and a more recent fish study, and discuss bounty on grass carp. Which out of those 3 are not part of this. Those would be part of the integrated aquatic management plan.
Okay. So this thing we're actually voting on now has to do with herbicides that are going to be done in February 4th, going to be decided on. Is that what that is?
So February 4th, the request for proposal would go out. And then the different contractors would have to provide a proposed proposal to the city of Ocean Shores, February 18th. And then on March 1st, at our next meeting, we would select which firm we would accept to move forward with the survey,
Okay,
all of
gotcha.
the stuff that Nick
I
put
do
in there.
remember. Sorry, I'm kind of new at all this, so I'm just trying to get all this stuff squared in my head.
No, I know, and Zoom isn't the easiest way to do all these things.
I hate this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't work like this. But yeah, I'm okay with that. As
So-
long as there's a study done before they just start spraying stuff, I'd like to see that done.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's a full, if you want to go back and read that again, just to familiarize yourself. But if you go to, actually the whole thing, I think, it basically, it gives the history and then it says the way to move forward.
Okay,
but it's
I'll
up
take
to
a
you
look
on
at
how
that.
you want to vote.
Yeah, I'll
So
say yay on that then.
So are you in favor, or are you a yay or a nay on moving forward with the city sending out the RFP?
I am a yay.
Okay. So I have unanimous consent with that. And Nick, I will get in contact with you either this afternoon or tomorrow to come up with a time that's best for us to sit down and talk about this. Thank you. So that actually, I guess, would fall under the third subtopic of herbicide treatment. So we've already discussed the integrated aquatic management plan, and Nick, what would be the first step in order to get this thing moving? I'd really like to get that going. That's critical. It's just as critical as the herbicide plan. Actually, I think probably even more so. But what do you need, and when can we get moving on it?
Well, that's another one where, we would go out, grab a consultant. And so prior to doing that, we would have to prepare an RFQ, very similar to what we've done here for the actual vegetation control. And so that's the starting point. And so it sounds like you guys have already kind of gone through and identified, a lot of things that you think are valuable. If you could consolidate that list, get that over to me, then I can, incorporate that into, prepping the first draft of the RFQ for facilitating that. Now, just a component as far as managing expectations, I have to be careful overcommitting, and I don't know how many projects I can fully run at once. And so I want to move on this as fast as possible. But, there's a number of other elements that I'm committed to as well. So we'll balance that.
Okay.
And do what we can.
I get that.
Start with the list. Great stuff. Great.
Okay. All right. But also remember, you have now 6 Fresh Waterways Advisory Board members, and all of us are equally committed to making sure that these fresh waterways are managed appropriately and in the best possible way, for the environment, for the fish, for recreation, for, obviously the entire system. All right. So next that I have is harvesting. Grant and Nick, were you guys able to connect at all and have them come over and look at the harvester? So what is, I'm going to move over here to Grant. So Grant, what's going on with that?
Nick came over and we reviewed how the harvester was constructed and how it operated. So he has an understanding. The harvester has some weak points, and he was going to think about what he could do for his end to redefine and redo the weak points so it would be a stronger machine. And he hasn't got back to me yet.
Okay. Nick, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was going to say, just to add to that, Ken and I did, talk after, he was on site. And so, he is continuing to look for, the components that Grant and he talked about. So we'll see if we can find anything. It's amazing what he can find at times. So I've got my fingers crossed there, but I have no new news beyond that.
All right. I appreciate that. Bob, do you have anything on the harvesting?
No.
Phyllis? Greg?
Nope.
Joe?
No, I'm glad that we're going to try and get this thing operational, and I can help in any way I can. I was a millwright for 35 years, so I might be able to figure some things out as far as making it stronger.
Okay. Good deal. Thanks a lot. All righty. So the next thing that I have on here is the grass carp. And I think that that's probably going to be actually, I would say maybe the next 3. If you all of you are looking at your agenda, we have grass carp, water study, water health testing, the pH, dissolved oxygen concentration. I'm wondering if those 3, I just want to confirm with Nick, but I'm wondering, could all of those 3 issues be put in to the integrated aquatic management plan?
That would be my suggestion. I mean, obviously,
Okay.
I think all three do combine nicely into some section or another associated with that plan.
Okay. All righty. So I just want to get everybody's opinion on that. What do you think about that, Bob? The grass carp, water study, water health testing, that's where we can start with getting this vegetation management plan built.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Any comments?
No.
No, that's it? All right. Phyllis?
So the question I have about is the grass carp issue on it. For a future study and that would be going on, I do not foresee that as adding any more grass carp to the lakes at all. And so I think it's a moot point at this time really to be addressing that in the future study of it. What I would be more concerned about with the grass carp is determining if the sterile carp has now become productive, that they've mutated and are now reproducing. And I don't know if that really has anything to do with the future plan.
All right. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that. Grant, do you have anything? No? Okay, thank you. Greg?
Nope.
Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the grass carp. So I'll tell you where I've been with talking quite a bit with the Department of Fish and Wildlife on the grass carp and some other folks that actually raise these guys. And because I've had some question about them too, why there's carp in there that are 4 and 5 foot long and why there's carp in there that are 2.5 foot long. And I've had question about that too. I also have small fish that are populating in the canal where I live in big schools, and then within a couple of weeks they're gone. And after talking to Department of Fish and Wildlife, they wanted me to net some of those so they can see if they are grass carp. And I've kind of got a gut feeling that they might be, and then they're dying off because I think our pH levels and everything are too low to support small fish. Long story,
Our pH levels are near 9.
well, 9 is
they're too low.
okay. Well, they've been dropping according to the Department of Fish and Wildlife. I've been looking at their reports. They actually dropped almost 1.5 points. They were at 7.6 and they dropped down to just above 6, which puts it in an acid, and that was like about 10 years ago. I don't know where it's at today. They haven't done a pH test on it in a while.
They're up in the 8s and 9s right now.
Is that the
Up until this last, Joe, this is Phyllis. Up until this last year, I mean, we went out and did the testing every summer. We didn't test during some of the colder winter months, but every month we went out and tested, and we have years of study. So I don't know where they're getting their numbers from. I would be questioning them because they haven't been out here testing them, and we have, and I doubt that they've ever gotten any of our numbers.
Yeah.
And I can't answer to that. I do know what they have told me is all I know. I didn't know of any numbers that we've been keeping track of. However, in order for fish to reciprocate, they've got to have certain pH levels and oxygenation levels, and there's got to be a reason why we don't have fish. Long story short,
yeah,
those are major things that we need to be taking a look at, and when they've been done, what time of year they've been done, because if they're done in the early spring, the oxygenation levels are going to be high. But after we spray everything and it dies and goes to the bottom of the lake, those pH levels drop quite a bit. So it just depends.
We do them after spraying. Yeah, we've always been testing after spraying also.
Okay.
Bruce is gone right now, Joe. He's one to keep back forward of his family. But as soon as he gets back, we will make sure you get a copy of those studies that go back as far as we have them.
That'd be great.
Up
I'd sure
until
love to
this
take a
last
look at 'em.
year. Yeah, and I was going to comment also on them wanting you to capture the little schools of fish that are out there. We had asked Fish and Department Wildlife to come out and do a shock test to see what is out there and to capture some of the grass carp for that very reason, to see, are they grass carp? Have they mutated or what? And they said they were going to come out and they did not show. So if you can get them out here to do what they said they were going to do, that'd be great.
Well, I've been talking to the fish biologists themselves pretty regularly, and I just got a recent fish study on 2014 that they had, but nobody knew that they had. And then they're supposed to come out again this year and do another study of what's going on. And just so you know, looking at the fish study, it has dropped considerably.
Well, just one second, Joe. This is Steve. Just 1 second, because
Yeah.
I actually have that as a topic,
Okay,
and
cool.
we can talk about any of the fish stuff. Where I was going with was these three issues: the grass carp, the water study, and the water health testing. I wanted to make sure that all of the board members were on, felt that should be part of the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan that we will be talking with Nick about.
Okay, very good. I'm just out of order.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Nick, do you have any? I'm going to put those three things together plus a bunch of other stuff. Maybe some things that I had written on the RFP for the herbicide treatment. I probably had in my head should go on that integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. So I'm going to put all that stuff together. I'm going to send that to you, and then we can talk about that at a future date as well, you and I.
Sounds like a plan.
Great. Thank you. All right. So the next one, next topic would be the algae testing equipment. And that actually probably, Bob, you're saying that Bruce has gone to Florida. That probably explains why I didn't get a response. But I had asked him if he had that information. But have you received any information, Nick, from the last meeting on that equipment?
I don't believe so.
Okay, all right. I will when Bruce gets back. I'll give him a holler and see if we can get that. I searched through all of my emails and I just couldn't find it, so I must have maybe had a printout of it. But we'll get that information to you so that we can get, so the city can get that ordered. Yes. Oh. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Phil. Okay, so going with the algae testing equipment, go around once more. Bob, do you have anything that you?
I don't believe so.
No. Phyllis? Grant? I'm going to come up with one. But do you have any comments about the algae testing equipment or anything? No? Okay. Greg?
No.
Joe?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, and on that, I think that I know I've talked with you about a lot of our issues, but I don't think that particular issue has come up before. I can give you a call and let you know what we're talking about with that. Okay, so now would be the fish study with Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. So what I wanted to do is just do a real quick preface on this. And Joe had sent me an email with this presentation. And I didn't print it out. It would have just probably cost me a couple $100 in ink. But I'm just gonna read the email really quick so that everybody, all board members can hear this, what the email was. This is from Jessica Peace, and Jessica is the warm water fisheries biologist for Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. And she says, hello, Mr. Hubachek. Attached is a presentation summarizing all of the work that has been done out of Duck Lake between 1999 and 2014. I could not track down a write-up, but would be more than happy to go through the presentation or chat more about the results with you. I brought up what we had chatted about in a few of my meetings this past week, and there is increased interest within the agency to enhance the fishing opportunities out at Duck Lake. We would gladly come out to Ocean Shores and present the results or sit in on a meeting to answer any questions you or the Fresh Waterways Committee may have. I look forward to continuing to work with you in the committee to improve your local fishing opportunities. Feel free to call me if you have any further questions. So what I wanted to do, again, this was a pretty entailed presentation. I will send that out to everybody this afternoon so that you have it in your email and you can peruse at your pleasure. But what I thought we could do is, if everybody is fine with it, is we could invite Jessica to attend our next meeting, and she could present it. I don't know if she does Zoom, but we could, if she's going to present with slides, or if she just presents, verbally. But I'm very interested in what the biologist at the Department of Fish and Wildlife has to say about the last 21 years that they have been monitoring our waterways, and what is that telling us on any kind of fish studies or anything else maybe that they have seen and have concerns about. So I'm wondering how the board members feel about that. And I'll go ahead and I'll start the opposite way, and we'll start with Joe, since you're the one who reached out to Fish and Wildlife. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. But
Yeah,
what comments do you have?
Well, I did talk to Jessica about a week ago and asked her if she'd be willing, of course, to come and talk to us about and explain the study a little bit better, because, for layman people, it's a little bit difficult to understand sometimes what they're trying to say. I mean, the gist of it we do, but I want to know what they did in the study to come across with the results they did. And so she says she's more than willing to do that. They do want to be involved in helping us. They would like to get the lake back to where it has plentiful fish, and everybody can, people start visiting us for the fishery rather than just water sports. So that's what I do have for now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. And again, I appreciate you reaching out to them. That's great. Okay, Greg, do you have any comments on this, on the fish study and having Jessica come out and chat with us?
Oh yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Awesome, thank you. Grant, do you have any comments?
Yeah. If he has a visual and requires to see it, the Lions building has got lots of room that we could space out, and we could look at the visual presentation easily. Okay. But we have lots of room there, and it's empty, so it's pardon?
Heated?
Heated.
Okay, awesome. Definitely keep that in mind. Phyllis.
Well, I would definitely welcome her to come bring a presentation and explain all of these numbers that they have that have not been shared with anybody in the past, and I would be extremely interested in seeing them.
Thank you, Phyllis. Bob?
I agree with Phyllis.
Agree with Phyllis, aye. Okay.
Steve, another option is if you guys give me her contact information, I can always put whatever she's presenting in the agenda packet. So it would show up as a paper copy also and can be screen shared for anybody that does look at it on the meeting in Zoom also.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Sarah.
And I have her direct phone number if we need it.
Gotcha. Okay. All righty. And you guys all know my thoughts on that, so there we go. All righty, so that would be it for the old business. New business. And that's what I had requested an amendment for. So this would go out to Nick or Scott. I'm wondering if you could send me, I'm sure that the budget has been passed by now. And I'm wondering if you could send me or tell me what was approved for 2021 and 2022 for the fresh waterways. How much money was approved?
I can look
I'm
that
digging right
up. Yeah, I can look it up, but Nick, if you're already on that.
I'm virtually certain it was 55,000 a year, but I will confirm that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, if you want to just send me an email. I know that I've looked at the budget before and I don't know. I'm not an accountant. It doesn't make too much sense to me. But if you could just send me an email or something that says this is what was passed for each year under the biannual, then that would I'd be appreciated. So that way we could actually get it into the minutes, and that way all board members know what we're dealing with here.
Maybe you could tell us, Nick, if that's all for weed control or if that's for weed control, boo replacement, tree removal, anything else we might do.
The intent was just for vegetation management. And so I'll chew back through and validate that.
This is Phyllis. I have actually a question on that line that's directed at Alicia, maybe, because it would be something we could have worked with her. With our shortage that we had in our treatments this year, was that because of the equipment that the city had purchased for us? Is getting some of that done and taken out of that budget? That was directed at Alicia.
Did you say that was directed at me, Phyllis?
Correct. Yes.
Anything that we do, when I code it to be paid through the budget, it comes out of the same budget number, and that is where the professional services aquatic weeds management funding is. The appropriation that I have on the November 2020 report for expense report says that the appropriation was $70,000 and we used billed to date was $49,697.23, leaving a balance of $20,302.77. I don't have any reports after November from 2020.
Yeah. Well, all of our purchases would have been at the beginning of the year, so shouldn't have had any.
I'm having a real hard time hearing you.
We didn't have any purchases after November, and all treatments would have been done. So that would have been final reporting as far as what we would be concerned of anything that we would have requested. Okay, answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, and there might be a new line item. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
All right, just bear with me. I'm making some notes here. All right. Okay. So that does it for the new business. Public comment. Sarah, did anybody log on, or has anybody sent you anything since we started the meeting?
I have not received anything. We do have Don Williams on the call. Don, do you have a public comment?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry I came in late. The Zoom access codes in the published agenda did not work, and Sarah was kind enough to rush them to me. So I came in a little bit late, but I'm curious. I came in when you started talking about sending out an RFP for the what is it, the Integrated Aquatic Vegetation Management Plan, but then a second RFP was discussed or mentioned. Is that the RFP for that was discussed last month for the survey and treatment plan being done this month? And does that plan include the actual work being done, or is that just a sort of a planning activity? And I was kind of wondering what that second study was about. And that's really what my question is. I'd appreciate hearing that if possible. But thanks a lot.
Thank you, Don. This is Steve, the chair of the board. I can either answer, or Nick, do you want to take that? Since I think I'm the one who kind of maybe confused some things.
The basic gist is that I think they got melded together. And so what we were originally trying to discuss was exactly what we were talking about last month, which is exactly that we're trying to solicit professional services for facilitating the vegetation control. And so that's the RFP that we were focusing on. But there was a number of conversations and comments about what should be incorporated into the Integrated Aquatic Vegetation Management Plan. And that one is another item that will be on the radar here in the near future. So is that a decent synopsis there, Steve?
Yes, thank you, Nick. Don, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm assuming that the vegetation control RFP is in process. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what will be submitted on 4 February. The study, the Integrated Aquatic Vegetation Management Plan, is a different RFQ, and Nick Bird and I will start talking. We'll start our discussions, and I will make that as a future agenda item.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Don. Sarah, anybody else?
No, sir. That concludes public comment.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so good to the order. Bob? Val?
I really got nothing else to add. Good meeting, covered a lot of territory. Thanks for everybody's input.
Thank you, Bob. Phyllis?
I want to just, well, this is for Joe. I guess I'm wondering when you want to start testing the pH levels of the water again, and I'm assuming you're wanting to do it monthly, no matter what the weather is, so we get a full year's testing of it instead of just we did it, when did we start? March
went through October.
Yeah, usually we just did it March through October. And if you are wanting to do that, when Bruce gets back from his little vacation he's taken, we will get the equipment and get with him and do a meeting with him and Lisa, Bob, and you and I, and show you what we have been doing, give you the many years of information that we do have, and we can get started on it. I know I can't speak for Bob, but I would be willing to go out with you and do the testing, appropriate weather.
Yeah.
I just throw that.
Good. Thank you, Phyllis. Okay. Grant, do you have anything good of the order?
No.
No? Okay. Penny will be talked about at the next meeting, but I think that's probably a good time to start looking at calendars, getting out there and getting that stuff up before it becomes a real big issue. Because right now it is manageable, right? Okay. Thank you, Grant. Greg?
Nothing.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Joe?
Now, because I'm new to this, good of the order, is that for new business or is that what we're talking about?
If you have maybe an, oh, by the way, that you'd like to pass,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
or
I do.
something that was
actually.
not particularly on the agenda?
Yeah, I do actually. We may had touched on it, but I'm not sure. And that is, I know we have a way to check the pH in the water. Do we have a way to check the dissolved oxygen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that. All right.
Clarity, oxygen, pH.
So is that done with a meter?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
All right. Anything else, Joe?
No, I just, yeah, I would love to take a look at those results when we get a chance, find out where we're at. Because I got a feeling they're
Okay.
changing throughout the year quite a bit.
They do.
Okay. We'll definitely, that will stay on the agenda. We'll keep that until we get a team and get it all going and on track. And actually, you know, that actually is a good idea. Maybe what we should do is I can add to the agenda that after the testing is done, that's just presented to all board members at the next meeting. So
That'd be
that way
awesome.
it's actually even part of the minutes. Everybody can see this, and yeah. Okay, that's just an idea. All righty. And so again, thank you guys. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish. Scott, do you have anything?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And again, thank you very much for consistently coming to all of our meetings. I appreciate that.
I do my best. Thank you. You're welcome.
Nick.
Hey, cool. I don't have to send an email out on this. Actually, I'll go ahead and send it anyways because I've got it mostly typed up. I chased the budget numbers down. So items specific to the fresh waterways, we have $55,000 a year for aquatic vegetation control. And then we have $65,000 for the aquatic plant management plan update is what we titled it as. But that's effectively the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. So
Yeah.
we do have money set aside for that. So those are things that can get rolling. As far as addressing, other items, trees in the water, whatever the case may be, where other professional services are necessary, that's an area we can help. Obviously, we have not allocated specific resources to that. So that's kind of a, for lack of better words, kind of first come, first serve as it relates to that. So that's my 60-second overview on budget. So that's all I've got right now.
Awesome. That's great, Nick. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that down. Greg, did you get those numbers?
I did.
Great. Thank you very much. Alicia.
I just want to say thank you for Nick going in and finding those numbers. I wasn't able to do that quickly, so I appreciate that. And that's all I have. Thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you, Alicia. And Susan, do you have anything?
Thank you, Steve. And Alicia took the wind out of my sails. I was just about to say the same thing. Thank you, everybody who puts in so much time. These advisory boards are very important, and I'm delighted to be your liaison this year. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, so let's see. It is 3:02. Again, I appreciate everybody and all of the hard work that we're doing month in, month out. And okay, and so with that said, 3:02, I adjourn this meeting. See you all on March 1st, 2021 via Zoom.